Okay, here we are, quarter 3, week 7, day 2. Find the quotient, which means we're going to do the keep, change, flip. 3 over 15 divided by, so we're going to make that a multiplication. And the inverse or the reciprocal or the multiplicative inverse of 4 over 9 is 9 over 4. Can we do some cross-reducing? Yes, we definitely can. So if we look at the 15 and the 9, we know that 3 goes into both of those. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 goes into 15 5 times. Is there anything else we can cross-reduce? Doesn't look like it. So let's multiply across. 3 times 3 is 9. 5 times 4 is 20. There's our answer, 9/20. Okay, what is 28 of 64? Well, we're going to write it like this. 64 is our total. We got 28 out of 64. Hopefully that's not a test score. Hopefully it's some other statistic. So let's see what we can do to find out the percent. We're going to divide 64 into 28 and then multiply by 100. So 64, does it go into 2? Nope. Does it go into 28? Nope. Does it go into 280? Yes, it does. It goes into it 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 1 more is 25. Subtract that. All right, we're going to have to borrow from the 8, make it a 7. That's a 10. 10 minus 6 is 4. 7 minus 5 is 2. And then the 2 is a 0, so we'll bring down the 0. Okay, how many times does 64 go into 240? It can't go in 4 times because that's 256. So let's go with 3. 3 times 4 is 12. And then 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 more is 19. Subtract that. All right, we're going to have to borrow again from the 4, make it a 3. Okay, and then this becomes a 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. Can't take 9 away from 3, so we're going to borrow here. 13. So we have 13 minus 9 is 4. All right, now we're going to have to add a 0 and bring it down. How many times does 64 go into 480? That'd probably be about 7 times, I think. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 6 is 42, plus 2 more is 44. All right, subtract this. We got to borrow from the 8, make it a 7. This becomes a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. 7 minus 4 is 3. And bring down a 0. How many times does 64 go into 320? Let's try 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 6 is 30, plus 2 more is 32. Looks like we're done. All right, so then we'll bring up the decimal right there, except that is not the percent. To get the percent, we have to multiply it by 100, which would move it over 2 places. So the answer is going to be 43.75%. Okay, so if there's 64 of something and you get 28 out of that 64, you're going to have 43.75%. All right, let's evaluate the expression. We're going to use PEMDAS. Okay, so first thing is parentheses. 10 plus 4 is 14. So we have 14 times 7 minus 45 divided by 9. All right, so done with parentheses. Any exponents? Nope. How about multiplication? Yeah, there's some multiplication and there's some division. So let's do the 14 times 7, and that equals 98. So we have 98 minus 45 divided by 9. All right, so we're left with subtraction and division. So what are we going to have to do? First is the division. So we have 45 divided by 9, and that, of course, is 5. So we have 98 minus 5. So then if we take 98 and we subtract 5, we end up with 93. There we go. We have evaluated the expression. All right, now we solve for y. All right, if we look at this equation, we have a y on this side and we have a 6 on this side, and we need to get rid of that 6, right? So let's go ahead and do that. We have 13 equals 6 plus y. Looks like we're doing addition. We're always going to solve by doing the opposite operation, so we're going to subtract 6 from both sides. All right, so then we have 13 minus 6, and that's 7. So we have 7 equals a positive 6 and a negative 6 to become 0, y. So 7 equals y, or you can write it y equals 7. That's all you have to do to solve for that. Okay, we're finding the area of this triangle. The formula for area is base times the height divided by 2. Remember, if you're doing base times height, you're actually finding the area of something like this, which is a parallelogram. And then you have to divide it by 2 to get the triangle. That's why you do that. Base times height divided by 2. Plus, the base and the height have to be connected by 90 degrees. So we're going to say the 14 is the base, 11 is the height. So we have 14 times 11, and that equals 154. And then we have to divide that by 2. So half of 154 equals 77. Okay, so the area is 77 feet squared. All right, that's all there is for that one. Okay, now we find the surface area, and this is a cube. And we know that every single side of this is 13. And then over here, I created a net. Okay, so if I took it and I folded it out, and this was the bottom, and then I folded out the sides, and I folded out everything else and flipped the top over, it would look like that. Which basically means we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 perfect squares. I know I drew them perfectly. So we have 6 perfect squares. Every single one of them is 13 by 13, which means all of the squares are 169 units or centimeters squared. So each one is 169 centimeters squared. Centimeters. All right, so if we want to know what is the total surface area, well, we already figured out by looking at the net that we have 6 sides, okay, that we are looking at. So with that being the case, all we have to do is take 169 times 6, or you can do 169 plus 169 plus 169 6 times. But if we just do 169 times 6, we end up with 1,000. Oops, didn't mean to do that. We ended up with 1,014. So we have 1,014 centimeters squared. So there's our answer, 1,014 centimeters squared. That is the total surface area. All right, on this data set, we need to find all 4 things: mean, median, mode, and range. And so let's look at this. Mean, okay, is the average. You add up all the numbers and divide however many numbers there are in the data set. So if there's 10 numbers in the data set, you add them all up, divide by 10. Okay, then the median is the number in the middle. So you line up all the numbers in the data set from least to greatest, and then find the number in the middle. If there's 2 numbers sharing the middle, you find the average of those 2 numbers. You add them together and divide by 2. Okay, then we have the mode. The mode is the number that simply happens most often. Okay, it happens most often. So if the data set is 2, 2, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 7, and 9, the one that happened most often was 4. That would be the mode. Okay, and then the last thing is the range. And the range is the difference or the distance from the highest number in the data set to the lowest number in the data set. So if the highest number in the data set was 40 and the lowest number in the data set was 20, then the range would be 20, because it's going to be 40 minus 20. Okay, or so it's just the difference. You're subtracting the largest number or the smallest number from the largest number, and that's how far apart they are. That is the range. Okay, so let's find the mean, which means we have to add up all of the numbers in this data set, okay, and then divide by however many numbers are in the data set. Okay, so If we added up 43 plus 43 plus 43 plus 44 plus 44 and on, all the way through the data set, we would end up with 485. So 485 is the total if we add them up. But to find the mean or the average, we have to divide that by the 11 numbers. Okay, and if you do that, if you take 485 divided by 11, you're going to end up with 44.0909. It just keeps doing that. So we're going to end up with a 44 point, let's say 09. And since the next 09 comes after that, we'll just round it to 1. Okay, so it's going to be 0, then the next number is 9, so we're going to round the 0 up to 1. So there's our mean, 44.091. All right, so now we have to find the median. If you remember, the median is the number in the middle. Yes, so what we're going to do is, let's get a different color, and we'll kind of go back and forth, and we'll kind of keep going until we can see if we just have one number in the middle, or if there are shared numbers in the middle. Looks like the only number in the middle is right there, that 44. So our median is 44. That's all you have to do. If there happen to be two numbers in the middle, you just add them up, divide by 2. But we don't have to do that because there is just one number in the middle. So 44 is your median. All right, the mode is typically the easiest one, especially if you have a graph to look at. Okay, the mode is the one that happens most often. Well, if you graphed it and you looked, you can see that clearly 44 is the mode. 44 happens more often than any other number. Okay, and then finally we're left with the range. Well, the highest number in the data set is 46. You can see it right here. The lowest number in the data set is 43, and we can see that we have a few 43s. But the highest number is 46. The lowest number is 43. What's 46 minus 43? Well, it's just 3, right? Yes, so the answer for the range is just a 3. That's it. So, there's all of them. We have the mean, median, mode, and range. All right, that's how you find each one of those. Not too difficult. And if you look at that, they're all pretty accurate. They're all pretty close to the middle here. They're all pretty close to the 44. So you could kind of use mean, median, mode, and range. Typically, if you can use any of them, it would be preferred to use the mean. But sometimes the mean actually has a skew to it, and we'll get to that later. But in this case, we would probably use the mean out of the mean, median, mode. And then the range just has a different piece of data, which shows the difference between the highest and lowest number. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, so it says find the median and the mean of the data. The median is the number in the middle. The median or the mean is if you add them all up and divide by however many numbers are in the data set. So let's find the median first because that's going to be the easiest. But one thing we notice is that the numbers that they gave us are random. So you can't just find the middle number there. You have to line them up from least to greatest. So I took these numbers and rewrote them down below. 12, 13, 13, 14, 21, 22, and 23. So let's find real quick the number in the middle. So we'll look at both sides. See if we have a shared middle or just one middle. We just have one middle, and it is the 14. That is the only number, so the median is 14. So now we have to find the mean, which means we're going to add up all the digits first and then divide by however many numbers are in the data set. And we know there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to have to add them all up and divide by 7. All right, so when we add up all these numbers, we get to 118. And then there's 7 numbers in the data set. So we take 118 divided by 7, and that equals 16.857. So basically, we're just going to say it's 16.857. Yeah, we'll just do that. 16.857. And that is the mean. All right. So then the last thing they're asking is, what reflects the best measure of center? Well, which one of these numbers is more in the middle? The 14 or the 16.857? So it would be the median would be the best answer.